Palestine. Many people have different perceptions of this Middle Eastern land. It often makes headlines for all of the wrong reasons, but most don't know what life actually is like in this occupied territory. I've been interested in Palestine all the time since I learned about it in a history class, and finally got a chance to visit for 3 weeks this autumn. But throughout the trip, I realized how little knowledge I had about this beautiful land. I didn't know about its unique culture and warm-hearted people, but I also didn't know how they are suffering from injustice every day, and how it feels to sleep hearing gunshots at night. From this week, I will start a new video series called Behind the Wall, to share what I actually saw and experienced in Palestine, surrounded by the separation wall, which was illegally constructed by the Israeli government. As a first video, I'd like to explore the holy city, Jerusalem. Being the spiritual center of Jewish, Muslim, and Christian religions, Jerusalem is the heart of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. Since there is no airport in Palestine's territories, many tourists first must go to Jerusalem as a gateway to the West Bank, which is one of the 2 main Palestinian territories. I was going to Jerusalem directly from the airport on the Israel side by train. However, when I arrived there, it turned out that Rosh Hashanah, Jewish New Year's Day, had just begun, and therefore all of the public transportation was stopped. Luckily, I found a sharut, or shared taxi, to Jerusalem, and I had an interesting encounter with a Palestinian guy in the car. When I told him that I'm going into Palestinian territory on this trip, he just replied, "This country is Palestine, you are already there." I immediately regretted being so thoughtless to tell him that. The countries and its territories are perceived in very different ways by many people here. He was so kind as to explain what the Palestinian lives are like on the way to Jerusalem.
Yeah, those houses are like naturalized here, Palestinian villages. Yeah. They're not allowed to use the street at all. There's like tunnels under the street for them. Yeah. So they can like go from this side to this side. Yeah. And sometimes they have to make another like very big round.
So when you cross the border, would you have like problems?
Like for me, no. I don't have permission to pass through a checkpoint because I have a blue ID, but most of the people who live here don't have this blue ID. They have green ID.
There are 3 types of identification cards used in Palestine that are given to each person depending on their place of birth. The West Bank ID and the Gaza ID, both in green casings, and the Israeli ID in a blue casing. While blue ID cards allow them to move somewhat freely around the different cities of Palestine, green ID holder travel is strictly limited.
You said you have a blue ID because you are born in Jerusalem? Okay.
There is some people of Gaza, you know Gaza, right?
Yeah.
They can't get out of Gaza together.
They can.
People who live here have a green ID, they cannot get out of it unless they get permission from the Israelis.
But it's not easy to get the permission.
After about 1 hour, we arrived in Jerusalem's downtown. It was almost midnight, so I just checked into my hotel, ate instant noodles, and slept to be ready for the upcoming adventure. This was the second day of Rosh Hashanah, and the downtown was very quiet, because in addition to the stopped public transportation, most shops and restaurants were also closed. However, once I stepped into the old city, It almost looked like everything was working normally, and I was surrounded by the usual hustle and bustle. Jerusalem is suspended between many different cultural crossroads. The old city of Jerusalem is divided culturally and historically into 4 residential quarters: the Jewish, Muslim, Christian, and Armenian quarters. Each quarter has its sights and sensations, and the entire old city is like a huge labyrinth with narrow streets and alleyways. One minute, you are walking in a tranquil Jewish neighborhood, and the next moment, you are lost in the bustle of an Arabic souk. While I enjoyed wandering around the beautiful historic city, there are definitely some moments in which I was able to feel the tension of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict. First of all, there are fully armed police and military all over the place. If you look up, you see a bunch of Israeli flags waving, and I also couldn't help noticing tons of surveillance cameras monitoring us, especially in the Muslim quarter. Both Israelis and Palestinians claim Jerusalem as their capital. Although Israel has effective control of West and East Jerusalem that is home to the Old City, Israeli sovereignty over Jerusalem has never been recognized internationally, except recently by the United States of America, when the former president Donald Trump announced the country's solidarity. Even though it's illegal under international law, Israel has built a dozen settlements, home to about 200,000 Jews in East Jerusalem. As a tourist, I didn't find it unsafe walking around the old city, but sometimes it was a little uncomfortable. I feel the most tense atmosphere at the Dome of the Rock, which is one of the oldest works of Islamic architecture built on the top of the Temple Mount in the old city. Usually, other religions' holy places are open to tourists all day, such as the Wailing Wall, which is the holiest place for the Jewish faith, and Church of the Holy Sepulchre, which is one of the most special sites in Christianity. However, in order to access the Dome of the Rock, non-Muslim people are only allowed to enter through one gate during very specific times. There are other gates too, but they are all under the control of Israeli police, and only Muslims are allowed in. I'm trying to go to the Dome of the Rock, and I've already found like 4 or 5 entrances, but the police didn't let me in, telling me that it's only for Muslim people. So I asked them where is the entrance for tourists, but everyone says different things. Some of them say, oh, you can find the entrance this way, but others say, oh, it's closed today. But some people say, oh, it opens at 1:30 or closed at 1:30. Somehow, the police guarding the site didn't even know when and where the tourists could go in, so I had a little difficulty finding the right entrance. One time, one of the gift shop staff touted to me on the street, so I asked him if he knew how to get to the Dome of the Rock. But then he suddenly got a cold attitude and only sharply said, I don't know, before walking away. Eventually, I found the gate for tourists right outside of the Wailing Wall area and waited in line. But another weird thing happened there. Suddenly, a group of dozens of Jewish people cut in line right in front of our eyes and started arguing with the staff.
Are they trying to block us?
Yeah. At first, we thought they tried to not let us in as a protest, but minutes later, we found out what they really came for. We managed to pass through the Jewish crowd and walked on the wooden walkway above the Wailing Wall leading to the Temple Mount. The Temple Mount is the third holiest site for Muslims after Mecca and Medina. The Dome with the Rock is a shrine that contains a foundation stone and marks the spot where Muhammad ascended into heaven. Non-Muslims are not permitted to enter the Dome of the Rock or Al-Aqsa Mosque. I was just walking around the open area and admiring the beautiful buildings when I heard voices of protesting Muslims. What they were seeing before them was a Jewish group marching while guarded by police.
Where from, sir?
I'm from Japan.
Really? What city?
I'm from Yokohama.
Yokohama.
You know Yokohama?
No, I know.
Yeah. Oh wow. Oh, you've been to Japan before?
No, I read about Japan.
Oh wow, this is great.
I was spoken to by a Muslim guy, so I asked him what those Muslims were saying.
Allah Akbar means Allah great. Is the greatest. And we issue this Allahu Akbar Akbar because they get in here by force.
Oh what? Oh,
And
what are
they are just Zionists. And they are guarded by the Israeli policemen. They get in here by power, by force.
Yeah.
They are not allowed. This is a Muslim place. They should be.
What are these people doing?
This is the second day of their new year.
Yeah.
And they want to establish a new theory or a new narration that this is their own temple. We don't approve of it, but we don't have the power to prevent them.
Yeah.
As well as the site being significant to Muslims, the Temple Mount is also the holiest site in the Jewish religion. The foundation stone, located beneath the Dome of the Rock, is sacred to Jews and Muslims alike. In the Jewish faith, it is believed that the very word originated here, and therefore, this stone is also regarded as the navel of the earth. In the Torah, or Old Testament of the Bible, it is written that the first temple of the Jews was built at this site, then destroyed by the Babylonian king, who sent the Jews into exile. Due to religious reasons, Jews and Muslims can't agree on who should have control of this site, as well as many other places in the territory. I was already overwhelmed during my visit to Jerusalem, but when I got into Palestinian territory after the checkpoint, I saw more of the harsh reality that the people are confronting daily. So from the next video, I will start sharing my experience in the cities behind the wall. If you are interested in upcoming Palestinian videos, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss them. Thank you for watching, see you in the next video.